Okay, welcome to the third hour of our Pride Parade. We didn't intend to have a 3-hour parade, but all of you sent in such incredible content. We just had to show it all. Now we have an interview followed by a performance by Fruity Flavors. We are happy to invite to the stage one of our longest serving LGBTQ colleagues, John Laird. This is his 40th year of addressing the Santa Cruz Pride crowd. Thank you.
John, welcome to our virtual stage. It is really wonderful to see you, and it is always wonderful to talk to you. You have always given us perspective, put things in context of the political environment and the historical environment. What is your view on everything that is happening right now?
Well, first, happy Pride to everyone, and thanks to everybody that made this happen. I've been watching, and whether it's Deborah, Reverend Deb, Jimmy Panetta, Mayor Cummings, Maria, it's been really powerful and impressive. And I think right now we have this remarkable confluence of things. I was using the shelter in place to go through old photographs, and I found the Santa Cruz delegations at the March on Washington in '79 and '87 and '93. And, when we first did that, it was illegal to be gay in all 50 states. I mean, it's amazing. And then we have the pandemic, which hits disadvantaged people disproportionately. And it's been crazy because at the beginning, people said, we've never had anything like that. And those of us that worked hard through the HIV crisis were very offensive because we have had something like that before. And it did take a major hole in our community. And a lot of us rose up and fought all the way through. And there's some real analogies to what happened then and Black Lives Matter now, because yesterday there was a march on the Golden Gate Bridge, and ACT UP shut down the Golden Gate Bridge around HIV at the commute rush one morning, and a lot of people that were normally allies were outraged. And yet on the government side, people said, what can we do? And the next thing you know, there was state research into HIV, additional services, a real push for non-discrimination, and that kind of activism led to real results. And here we go. I mean, it has been so tortuous with what happened in Georgia and Minneapolis and Kentucky. And Reverend Deb said it really well. Of how it's always been a voice that's there, but it's sustained and it's broader, and we have to turn it to action. And that's the thing that's key right now, is making sure that people stay in the streets, stay putting this in front of everybody. And there's amazing education. I'm in conversations where you have to explain that Black Lives Matter isn't only Black Lives Matter, it's Black Lives Matter. And that when it comes to policing, what do we have ready to go? Jimmy Panetta had a bill. They did something in Sacramento that was partway this last year, and it looks like now there's going to be one that goes much further. And it's like, what's the practical action that we get out of this so that this is all for naught? And so all those things are coming together as we celebrate Pride and as we recognize not just where we've been, which has been an amazing road. I mean, seeing Patty Maxine sing it, the first one, was pretty amazing, and listening to Dave and Dan. But as I keep saying, there's a lot of people that are going back in the closet to go into nursing homes. LGBTQ people of color have a double whammy all the way along. Women don't make as much as men, so two women together, that's real discrimination. We have trans issues, whether it's the military or people losing their lives in very similar ways, and trans people of color disproportionately so. So it's all coming together right now. And I'm really hoping that people listen to what Reverend Deb said and feel like there's action, that everybody's going to vote. Nobody's going to walk away. Everybody's going to make sure that they help people that are running accountable. And it's a very interesting time.
Yeah, John, you have been in these movements. I was going to ask you about everything that you just talked about anyway, which was, how we have been through similar paths before. The difference is the movements you've been part of, you have walked through to results. You've had results. You've been part of the Santa Cruz AIDS Project, and you've worked through a lot of those things. What is your advice to get us through this, to make this matter, to make these changes permanent?
It's really to stick with it. Stick with it in the streets, and stick with it at the ballot box, and stick with it in the halls of power, and make sure that all three things are linked really closely, so that nobody walks away from this. Nobody feels like they get a pass in actually doing something. And I think that's going to be the hard part, is people have gotten consciousness. There's this fascinating national poll that shows the number of people nationally that believe that African Americans are treated different by police has gone up 30 points in the last 2 weeks. So what are we going to do with it? Where are we going to make sure that there's police practices that change as a result of this? And I think that's going to be the hard part, and yet that's going to be the part that's going to help drive some of this home.
Well, thank you so much for your words and your inspiration and your wisdom. And thank you for being here today. And thank you for being an incredible fabric of what is Santa Cruz Pride through the decades. You are a gem.
And everybody, happy Pride, and we're going to enjoy today, and we're going to just keep working the next few weeks and months. Thanks for having me today, Rob.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
Chugging on your pussy, my baby loves to go that way. Pussy chugger, what the hell did you say? Pussy chugger's chugging on your pussy, hey, my baby loves to go that way. Pussy chugger's getting lots of parties. Pussy chugger's chugging on your pussy, my baby loves to go that way. Pussy chugger, what the hell did you say? Pussy chugger's chugging on your pussy, hey, my baby's knees begin to sway. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Chugging on your pussy, hey, chugging on your pussy, hey, hey. Ooh, your pussy. Oh, yeah. Pussy chugger's feeling nice and fancy. Pussy chugger's chugging on your pussy. My baby loves to go that way. Pussy chugger, what the hell did you say? Pussy chugger's chugging on my pussy, hey, my baby loves to hear me say, pussy chugger, pussy chugger, pussy chugger, pussy chugger.
Hello, this is John Laird. This year would have been the 40th year that I spoke from the stage for our local LGBTQ Pride. Nothing can stop our pride. In those 40 years, we've had amazing rights added, and we still have to work for seniors. We still have to work for trans people and their rights. We still have to make sure people aren't bullied. We have to have an open education system. So let's keep working together, and happy Pride.
Go! Honoring
Pride
from the
Santa Cruz
Warriors! Hey, we miss you all. We look forward to celebrating Pride with you next year, hopefully on Pacific Avenue in person. Be safe and be well.
My name is Private First Class Okamoto. I've been in the Guard for 1 year, and nothing can stop my pride.
My name is Staff Sergeant Cody Dante. I've been in the Air National Guard for 10 years, and nothing can stop our pride.
Hi, Master Sergeant Angela Hallenbeck, Headquarters, California Air National Guard.
Staff Sergeant Jesse Cardoza-Cussiter.
Senior Airman Priya Johnson.
And nothing can stop our pride.
My name is Chief Warrant Officer 2 Matthew Reese, and I'm with the Youth and Community Programs Task Force. Happy Pride to all of you in Santa Cruz. Nothing can stop our pride.
Hi, this is Lieutenant Colonel Ballinger from the 129th Rescue Wing, and nothing can stop my pride.
On behalf of the men and women of the California National Guard, I want to wish everybody in Santa Cruz a happy Santa Cruz Pride, and for everybody across the state, a happy Pride Month. The California National Guard is known for its extraordinary diversity and its extraordinary inclusion.
Go.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Larry.
And we're part of the 60 Plus program at the Diversity Center.
Yay! And we help prepare the lunches, and we are involved in the senior men's socials, and we're on the committee that puts all these events together.
And we invite you, 60 Plusers, part of the LGBTQ community, to join us for fun and camaraderie.
So come on over and join us for the next virtual event, as well as the actual in-person events, hopefully resuming in the fall.
Okay.
Hi, Santa Cruz. We're the One Archives Foundation, the oldest continuously operating LGBTQ organization in the country.
We work with students and teachers to ensure LGBTQ history is implemented in K-12 classrooms.
We help donor activists make queer history visible.
We put on exhibitions and events that center queer arts and history.
We push out content that engages with current conversations about queer life and social justice.
Nothing
can stop our pride.
2020.
On behalf of all of us at Hospice of Santa Cruz County, we wish you a happy Pride 2020. While our Pride celebration looks different this year, its foundational principles of love, respect, justice, and honoring our differences has never been more important. At Hospice of Santa Cruz County, we envision a community where all people can live and die with dignity. As we celebrate Pride 2020, may each of us find the resolve to meet every person and every event with love, compassion, and kindness. And may this change within us be the first step toward change within the world. We look forward to marching with you again next year.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan Coonerty, Santa Cruz County Supervisor with my kids, Daisy and Kellen, and we're just here to wish you a very happy Pride Day. We wish we could be there in person, but you know our community will celebrate and enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Happy Pride Day!
Happy Pride Day!
I am loving all of these videos from community organizations and individuals, and I'm really loving all the knowing more about the history of Santa Cruz Pride. And if you're enjoying that as well, you should definitely check out the Queer Santa Cruz exhibit at the MA. If you want information on that, of course you have to do it virtually right now. If you want more information, details, links, go to santacruzpride.org. There's lots of interesting things that you can do after the event today. Now coming up shortly, we will have an interview with another local LGBTQ hero, Adam Spickler, followed by a dynamic performance by San Francisco drag king Ryder Moore. So let's go back to Rob and Adam.
Thank you, Kim, and welcome, Adam. Again, one of my favorite interviewees. And actually, I have been talking to you literally for years and seeing your growth as really one of the most inspirational speakers we have locally and through your
Since we've been infants.
I know, really, we were babies. So Adam, you have taken a leadership position in education in our state. And it is at a time, ironically, when the head of the education department has taken aim at transgender people. How do you feel about what is coming down from the Department of Education and their treatment of the transgender population and students?
It's hard not to talk about Betsy DeVos and the Department of Education without getting really angry. And it's both as a trans person looking at my community through that lens specifically, but also, geez, I mean, Title IX protections just got ripped apart by Betsy DeVos. It took an aim at everything the Obama administration put in place to make sure that anybody who experiences sexual harassment or sexual violence on campuses has a safe way to come out, get help. And they really walked that back, so much so in the vein of protecting folks who are accused of committing those violent acts. And it really just, it pushes people who experience violent crimes of sexual nature back into the closet, and it's infuriating. We at Cabrillo, the Board of Trustees voted in early May to send a message to the Department of Education and Ms. DeVos about their regulations or rules around DACA students not being able to receive CARES Act funding. And I'm really excited to let folks know that Cabrillo is one of 8 community colleges that signed on to an amicus brief with the state chancellor's office to sue the Department of Education to make sure that the CARES Act money that's to go directly to provide students aid can also be given to undocumented students and DACA students. So I've got a lot to say about Miss Betsy DeVos. And come this November, the right votes will help march her the heck out of Washington.
Absolutely. Today there was a thing that hit the news about a professor in North Carolina who has tweeted out racist and sexist and probably homophobic positions, and he is protected by his tenure. Is that a piece that is going to be tough in the education system to get through when we are attacking systematic racism? Is the tenure system?
You know, it's so interesting. I'm not familiar with this, so I'd love to read up on it more. But you know, the thing about the protections that are in place, whether you're talking K through 12 or the community college or public college system, there are also hard-fought gains that our brothers and sisters in the labor movement have worked really hard to make sure there is the right kind of protection so folks have employment protection, and how we weed out what's fundamentally value about utilizing something like tenure status the way that through a labor lens it was really intended, and so that it doesn't protect bad actors. It's really difficult work to do. And I'd like to be part of that conversation. I think it's really important. And I think we at Cabrillo have a really good history around how we utilize tenured track and tenured status. But I need to learn more about the case you just noted.
Yeah. Well, I know you solve a lot, and I don't expect you to solve the whole world. So, but yes, and I know that under your purview, that would be challenged deeply. I'd love for you
and let me just say really quickly that anything to promote racism within a curricular context is abhorrent. So I in no way am saying that shouldn't be looked at very closely in those specifics. I'm not familiar with it, but from what you mentioned, it's beyond the pale.
Right. I'd love for you to give us a few words of insight, what you expect from a cisgender population to do in support of our trans brothers and sisters.
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I want to start by saying what I've been wrestling with, not just this year, but all the time when it comes to Pride, is that really complex duality of how do I think from a place of celebration, because I feel like I need it and I want to be celebratory, but how do I still be an activist and an ally? Because I know for me, I feel like if I'm not heavily invested in my activism and allyship, the guilt that I feel about being celebratory makes it hard for me to do either. And I feel immobile. And so that's the framework with which I want to look at all of my cisgender allies and really ask you to not get stuck in that duality, to be really engaged in celebrating all of the ways you as lesbian and gay folks have been able to achieve so many rights that I too have and I share. But with that celebratory nature, also please be allies for us in the trans and gender nonconforming communities and in the intersex community. There are so many ways in which we will help be a part of the larger struggle together when we're all actively helping being a larger part of the struggle together. Just like we all need to be from people of color. It's a both and, it's not an either or.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all you do. You are incredible. Thank you so much. Back to you guys.
Through your days, got your head hung low, your sky's a shade of gray, like a zombie in a maze. You're asleep inside, but you can't shake awake, 'cause you taste a dead man walking, think that that's your only option, but you can flip the switch and brighten up your darkest day. The sun is up and the color's blinding, take a world and redefine it, leave behind your narrow mind, you'll never be the same. Come alive, go and light your light, let it burn so bright, reach it up to the sky, and it's open wide, your legs will fight. The world becomes a fantasy, and you're more than you could ever be, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. And you know you can't go back again to the world that you were living in, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. So come alive. I see it in your eyes. You believe that lie, that you need to hide your face, afraid to step outside, so you lock the door, but don't you stay that way. No more living in no shadows, you and me, we don't have echoes, 'cause once you see it, oh, you'll never, never be the same. You'll feel like it's time.
Hi, friends. Oh my God, it has been an amazing Pride so far. I'm going to share a few words. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering how to support the current movement and stand in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement during this turbulent, scary times. You know, I've only been here since 2007, and I'm very afraid for my life all the time, living in a predominantly white area. But so many of you are supportive, and I love it. But here, yeah, we have some friends here to like speak some words. Yeah, from Santa Cruz Hub and Sub Rosa Community Space. We can show how like non-Black POC and white folks can help with the movement. You know, I'm gonna give the mic away.
All right. Woo. Hello, everybody. Happy Pride. My name is Iana. Like Ezra said, I am an affiliate of the Hub here in Santa Cruz. It's a community space. We've done a lot of great events together. Usually around this time of year, actually, we have a couple things planned for Pride, such as film screenings, marches, after parties, dry spaces. It's really a beautiful thing and a beautiful time. And I appreciate everybody coming together right now to celebrate that. Something that's been on my mind nonstop, and I think it's been on a lot of our minds recently, is the murder of George Floyd done by police brutality. Now, that is something very serious to talk about. That is something that I'm trying not to over sensationalize here, but I do want that truth to be spoken. And I do feel like that is, as a queer person here, as a leader of my community here, I want to focus on that. And I want to focus on how we can support that. And that comes with abolishing police brutality to begin with, right? You can't just abolish the police. You gotta get rid of the whole system. This is part of institutional racism, and a few of you have spoke about that. And I see that in the sidebar here. Some people are aware of that as well. And that is so important to educate yourselves on what that looks like. It's not just one or two bad eggs, right? It's the whole thing. It's exactly like what a lot of people of color, including myself, have experienced. You know, I come from Southern California, and I came here, and like there's police brutality, there's police violence. I've been on campus, been heckled by police officers, for example. Now, I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to amplify the Black voices who can't talk about themselves right now, who are silenced forever. I want to share this because it's a time of hurt. It's a time of pain, and right now we want to celebrate our pride. We want to be happy about that, but we also got to remember this pride comes from people who faced police brutality, who weren't allowed in bars, who had to throw bricks and incite violence, so to speak, but really that was the only way they can get their message heard, right? This is our history right here. Let's be proud of that, and let's uphold those values too.